Hey, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. So if you are having to eat out less, cook at home more, and you really just don't enjoy cooking, you're in the right place because that's how I feel. I am a busy mother of three. I work from home and I just really don't enjoy cooking all that much, but I do love food that tastes good. And I love to sit around the dinner table with my family at the end of the day. So for me, it is worth it to get into the kitchen and cook, but I still just don't like it that much. And so every week I take you along with me as I meal plan, grocery shop, and cook for my family. So if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, I went grocery shopping at Costco and Winco, and I found potatoes that were less expensive than our local grocery store, and I was really excited about them. But here's the deal. We have not used these potatoes yet. I've made mashed potatoes once, I think, and made a dent in the russet potatoes, but I still have a full bag of red potatoes and a partial bag of russets. And so the goal for this week is to use up the potatoes so that they don't go bad, because I hate food waste. So come with me, I'll show you how we're using up our potatoes, especially because we actually don't make mashed potatoes that often because not everyone in our family enjoys them. So I'll show you some different ways that I like to use potatoes for our family. All right, we're back from school pickup. We just ran to the store on the way home. So I grabbed a 12 pack of Diet Pepsi, more of the blackberry lemonade because that went very quickly. We got some mac and cheese. It was a lot less expensive to buy the 5-pack. I got some chicken broth because I'm out of the Better Than Bouillon and it was really expensive at Walmart. So I'm just gonna wait until I go to Costco and grab that. I had a request from someone to get hot and spicy Cheez-Its. We got some ketchup, more oyster crackers to put in the lunchbox, tomato sauce, petite diced tomatoes, and then we got the bread. We got 2 different types of hamburger buns, hot dog buns, and a loaf of bread. For produce, I grabbed a multi-pack of peppers because they were marked down. And then I got a bag of mandarins because they were also on sale. They did not have broccoli crowns this time, so I had to buy it in the bag. And grabbed some more carrots, some coleslaw to go with our pulled pork. Hopefully I make it this week. 3 kinds of onion. We have red, sweet, and white. A bag of spinach, head of iceberg lettuce, you know the drill. We have some celery, 2 cucumbers, Roma tomatoes, and the Honeycrisp apples were also on sale, so I grabbed a bag of those. Bummer. I will probably pull that out, cut out the bad spot, and we will have that one tonight. We also got a bunch of bananas. Now for the refrigerated things, I grabbed some crescent rolls for a dinner, more milk. I got some chicken sausage and hot dogs and some cubed ham. We were out of string cheese. I grabbed some sharp cheddar for a recipe. I have a kiddo who likes to snack on pepper jack, and they were out of the usual pepper jack that we get, and so they said this one sounded good, so we would try that. More of our sausage sticks. The only 2 frozen things I got were some corn and some chicken nuggets. And then this was just a little treat for someone in our house that requested it. I was out of snack bags. These are for a classroom party that's happening in a couple days. And then these were just to have on hand this week. I don't think they're gonna last until Halloween, judging from the fact that someone was already trying to get into them. So that is everything we got. Now I will show you what we make this week with these groceries and what we have in our freezer and pantry. First up, we have a sheet pan dinner with chicken sausage. You'll notice I'm discovering why those sweet peppers were marked down. They had a couple of soft spots. They weren't rotten or anything, just a little soft. Since everyone does sheet pan dinner differently, I just thought I would show you how I do ours. I use a giant dark sheet pan. It came with some sort of cookie baking kit, and I did not like the dark metal for cookies. And so I've just kind of adopted it as my sheet pan dinner cookie sheet. And I'll link it below because I really like how it browns the veggies on the bottom as well. And then I just do usually a row of peppers, a row of carrots, a row of broccoli, and then I do a lot of potato because that's what my family prefers. And so I slice them in rounds and then I just kind of wedge the ends. Then I cover everything with some olive oil. I don't pour it into a bowl because I always pour too much. But if I just drizzle it straight onto the veggies, I always pour too much. So this is kind of like my compromise with myself. And then once the olive oil's on there, I just sprinkle it with some Italian seasoning and pepper. I don't put a lot of salt on the vegetables because the sausage is pretty salty. And then I cut up the sausage and add that to the top and bake it in the oven until the veggies are tender. And then I just served this with some macaroni and cheese on the side. And we also had some asparagus, so I made a tray of asparagus to kind of go with it. I had run out of space on the cookie sheet, so I did 2 pans. Okay, it is time to introduce you to another meal of my childhood. This one came actually from my grandparents. My grandpa was a traveling salesman, and he apparently had a diner that he liked to go to. And when he got home, he told my grandma about this meal that he had that he absolutely loved. And so this is kind of her recreation of it. I don't know how close it is to the original. But what was cute about this diner was that all of the dishes just had names. And so this was called the Alice potato. And so growing up, our family always had Alice potatoes. And it is a very basic dinner, but we love it. Basically, all it is you bake potatoes. This is just me getting them ready for the oven. And then you butter the potato and then top it with seasoned ground beef and shredded cheese and ranch dressing. And that's it. It is delicious. It's a family favorite. And I just serve it with a green salad on the side. Next up is a food that just happened to become a tradition for my little family. We have this every year on Halloween. I make it in the afternoon and just put it in the crock pot to stay warm so that everybody can just have some actual warm food in their belly instead of just candy, because it's just amazing how Halloween can get away from you. So for this meal, it's mainly just potato and carrot that you boil until it's tender. And this one did use up the last of my russets, so I was pretty excited about that. And then while those veggies are cooking, you just make a roux. And then once the veggies are tender, I just add a bag of chopped ham and a bag of corn. And then, yeah, you can see that milk has thickened up, and I add the shredded cheese. I usually use a block that I shred myself, but I knew I would be short on time, so I just use pre-shredded. The texture's a little bit different, but it tastes good just the same. And then it's time to pour that ooey gooey cheese into the soup, and my family absolutely loves this. And so once I've made it on the stovetop, I just transfer it over to the crock pot to stay warm. I didn't even get a picture of it, but we had high schoolers coming and going, and everybody just kind of took a bowl as they had time. And our final dinner is an attempt to use up some more of these baby red potatoes. So I am making a barbecue beef. I thought I was going to do pulled pork, but we didn't have a pork roast in the freezer. So plan B was barbecue beef. And so here I'm making my homemade barbecue sauce, which is basically just a dressed up ketchup. And I'm making a full batch. I normally don't do this, but I knew I wanted to make the beef with some of the barbecue sauce on it and then reserve the rest to heat it up when it was time to serve the barbecue beef. So basically it's just brown sugar, ketchup. I did sneak in a little garlic powder because we've tested it and it doesn't bother our family member who is sensitive to garlic, and then onion powder and liquid smoke. And then I poured some of that over the beef, and I reserved the rest to heat up when we were serving the sandwiches later on. And the smashed potatoes were a new recipe to me, so of course I barely filmed myself making them. I just boiled them, smashed them, baked them, and everybody seemed to like it. So that will definitely be something I try again in the future. But overall, I would say mission mostly accomplished. I have about a third of that bag of red potatoes left, but it feels much more manageable now that I can get through those before they go bad. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to continue to follow along with my meal planning shenanigans, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you next time.